Not my countdown I wanted.
Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, v'nashuva, Chodesh, Chodesh, Yameinu
Welcome to Temple Emanu-El's Kol Nidre service. We welcome all of you that are watching online, and hopefully the streaming will be fantastic. We have a whole new system, and you shouldn't hear me repeating every word 3 times. You should not hear me repeating every word 3 times. Never mind. And I'd like to also thank those that are in the sanctuary. There's a few people that have joined Cantor and myself to help us lead this evening's Kol Nidre service. We are so excited to have Misato, our pianist extraordinaire, as well as the one and only cellist, Peter Gelfin. We're so happy to have them both with us. Let us begin. I light this memorial candle in memory of all of those we have lost this year, including 2 former presidents, Bob Hirsch and Phil Hammer. I light this memorial candle for all those that have experienced loss, a loved one's death, a divorce, infertility, a loss of ability. I light this memorial candle for all of us who are grieving and feeling pain.
It's my pleasure to invite Cheryl Magat to help us light our Yom Tov candles this evening.
The human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness on this atonement night. We give thanks for love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, shel yom ha'kipporim. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with our majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel yom ha'kippurim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen. We continue on page 14. Please rise if you are able, either physically or in spirit. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre, its sacred portal, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling. We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God we failed to keep. We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah. We rejoice that we stand together, strengthened by community in this hour of shared weakness and humility. We tremble, for tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding. We rejoice that we commit ourselves to great endeavors because we feel so deeply and think so nobly. We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might. We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear of failure, to aspire to be God's image in the world. We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life. We rejoice with trembling and enter Kol Nidre to face our humanity. We continue on page 16. Page 19. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Let our spoken words, every vow and every oath, be honest and well-intentioned. Let our words cause no pain, bring no harm, and never lead to shame, distrust, or fear. And if, after honest effort, we are unable to fulfill a promise, a vow, or an oath, may we be released from its obligation and forgiven for our failure. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Please be seated.
Kol Nidre Vesarei Vacharame Vekoname Vechinuyei
Please rise.
Page 25. Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe, the muted colors of twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness and ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. You call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced. All who reject emptiness and evil find acceptance from you. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many. Yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness, we choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama-Ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk.
Please rise.
We pause in reverence before the gift of self. The vessel shadows, the divine spark shines through, and our solitary self becomes a link in Israel's golden chain. For what we are by sharing, and as we share, we move toward the light. We pause in reverence before the mystery of a presence, the near and far reality of God. Not union, but communion is our aim. And we approach the mystery with deeds. Words lead us to the edge of action, but it is deeds that brings us closer to the God of light. We pause in terror before the human deed, the cloud of annihilation, the concentrations for death, the cruelly casual way of each to each. But in the stillness of this hour, we find our way from darkness into light. May we find our lives so precious that we cannot but share it with the other, that light may shine brighter than 1,000 suns with the presence among us of the God of light.
הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated as we continue with Ve'ahavta on page 30.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. You shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. Thus you will become holy to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, your God. Thank you.
We continue on page 39. Our sages taught, it is proper to mention the exodus from Egypt in our morning prayers and also at night. We celebrate the going out from Egypt in the morning light, full of confidence and vigor as we enter the new day. But in the evening, weary from the day's exertions, cast down and fearful at the coming of the night, what can the Exodus teach us then? Our nighttime prayer brings hope and trust in the future. As God did not abandon our people long ago through the long, dark night of exile, so the Holy One will be with us in time to come. To stand by the one you love, that is the true essence of faithfulness, the meaning of emunah. So it is written in the Psalms, to proclaim your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness in the nights. Sing with joy in the mornings of your life, when light surrounds you and the world seems beautiful and good. And in the evenings of your life, when you dwell in sorrow and the world seems dark, do not despair.
Michamo ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
On the top of page 43. When fears multiply and danger threatens, when sickness comes, when death confronts us, it is God's blessing of shalom that sustains us and upholds us, lightening our burden, dispelling our worry, restoring our strength, renewing our hope, reviving us.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכות שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב, דבר וחרב ורעב ויגון, והסר שטן מלפנינו ומאחרינו, ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנון ורחום אתה.
We continue with our tefillah on page 46. Please rise if you are able, either physically or in spirit. Adonai sivatai tivtach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, ve'Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vikonei HaKol, Vizocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Vneihem. Leman Shemo Be'ava Zochreinu Lechaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim V'chodveinu b'Sefer HaChaim Lemancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer uMoshiach uMagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechayei HaKolat Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Samech Noflim B'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayim Emunato Lishnei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Beinit U'Mechaye U'Matzmiach Yeshua Michamocha El Harachamim Zocher Yitzurav L'chaim berachamim L'chaim berachamim V'ne'eman Atah Le'hachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai L'chayei HaKol
Page 53. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day, selah. We continue together on the bottom of the page. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. Page 58. Kadosh Atah, you are holy, your name is Ad, there is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch Atah Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. Please be seated. We continue on page 62. Vatiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu, in your love, eternal our God, you've given us this Yom Kippur, a day on which our wrongs are forgiven with love, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. We join together, our God and God of the generations before us. May a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness. Together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel, may we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of atonement. Page 64. Get ready, everyone. Zachrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo letovah.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Ufoktenu vo lechayim.
Amen.
Be mindful of us. V'hoshienu vo lechayim.
Amen.
And redeem us for life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. We continue on page 72. That's right. We continue with a little bit of silent prayer. Feel free to offer the prayer in your heart or to read. There's a beautiful readings on page 73.
Page 78.
Shalom, Rava Yisrael, Amecha, Tasim, Ki ata melech Adon, lechol hashalom. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה, ברכה ושלום, ניזכר וניכתב לפניך.
continue with our Vidui on page 82. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and we in turn to you. Do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Tavo lefanecha, tefilateinu, ve'al titaylam mitchinateinu, she'en anachnu hazefanim ukshei oref lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu,
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibanu Dofi,
Dibarnu Dofi.
Ay, 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 Hevinu,
Evinu,
Vehirshanu,
Vehirshanu,
Zadnu,
Zadnu,
Chamasnu,
Chamasnu,
Tafanu Sheker,
Tafanu Sheker.
ay, 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 Ya'atznura,
Ya'atznura,
Kizavnu,
Kizavnu,
Latznu,
Latznu,
Maradnu,
Maradnu,
Niatznu,
Niatznu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Pashanu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Oreh.
Ay, 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 ay. Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shichatnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tainu,
Tainu,
Titanu.
Titanu.
Ay, 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 ay.
We continue together on page 86. Because a short vidui cantor is just not long enough. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for these sins, our God, we ask for forgiveness. The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths. The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. The ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. The ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Continue on page 88. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation. The ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, and harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior. Continuing on page 90. The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech. The ways we have wronged you with the slanderous tongue, and harm we have caused in your world through a selfish or petty spirit. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. I invite all of us to turn to page 94 and just take a few moments to read that page.
Page 98.
Shema Koleinu Adonai Shivenu Adonai Elecha Shivenu Elecha V'nashuva Chodesh Yameinu Yameinu Kekedem Al tashlichenu Al tashlichenu Zikna kichlot kocheinu Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem Aleinu Aleinu V'kaber v'rachamim v'rachamim uv'ratzon et tefillatenu.
We continue on page 113. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Some of us have cancer. Some have lost strength of body. Some have lost memory and speech. Some of us are in pain. Some can't find work. Some of us bear the marks of human cruelty inside, where the scars don't show. Some live with depression. Some battle addiction. Many feel alone. Some have known shattered marriages, trust betrayed, hopes destroyed. Some of us have lost the ones we love far too soon, and some have lost a child. All of us have seen suffering in our midst. All of us know the ravages of war, for which there are no words. Avinu Malkeinu, why? Avinu Malkeinu, are you there? Do you care? Avinu Malkeinu, hear our pain, hear our anger, hear our grief. Avinu Malkeinu, here is our prayer. Give us the strength to go on. Give us reasons to get up each day. Give us purposes and persistence. Help us to fend off fear and to hold on to hope. Help us to be kind. Don't make us bow or grovel for your favor. Give us dignity and give us courage. Avinu Malkeinu, show us the way to a year of goodness. Renew our belief that the world can be better. Restore our faith in life. Restore our faith in you. What is God? A big daddy in the sky? A process in nature? The universe itself? A judge? A spirit? A buddy? A listener? A healer? Something humanity created to help us cope with life? A figment of one's imagination? What is God? Many of us do not spend a lot of time discussing God, but as we age and experience life-changing moments, we often question God, especially when we are feeling bad or are in pain or experience a death of a family member or a dear friend. Throughout our lives, as we grow and change, so too our idea of God changes with us. And it seems for many that on one level, we never answer the question, what is God? Not because there's not a specific answer, but because in the end, the answer does not matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because in the end, what we believe has no impact on another. What does have an impact is what we do with our beliefs, the actions we take. We know this well if we look at the behavior of extremists in our country alone. Hence, in Reformed Judaism, a good belief in God is defined from the action that belief leads us to, or a belief in God is only as good as the action that belief motivates us to do. That is why we stress doing actions that reflect what we believe. If I believe everyone is equal, then I understand the importance of acknowledging the land that I am on as part of the Muwakama Ohlone tribe's land. If I believe that our BIPOC citizens are equal, then I need to acknowledge my white privilege. So too, if our belief in God is not comforting us, then it's time to try a new belief. Israel, when defined in English, means one who struggles or wrestles with God. By definition, the people Israel means that we are to struggle with what God is. It is not about having the one answer. This is not a black and white issue. Being human is about wrestling with such beliefs as theology, philosophy, cosmology. Each of us are influenced by the world around us and the times we are living in. If we are students of history and aware of our own current situation, then how could we not question belief in God? I first learned the art of questioning God when my father died 6 days before my 13th birthday, a couple of months before my bar mitzvah. I remember that moment so clearly. But so too, I recall while studying for my master's in education at the Conservative Seminary in Los Angeles, learning all about biblical criticism. That is when I began to look at the theology of our scriptures from a new lens. I found it liberating to learn from scholars of biblical criticism that humanity wrote the Torah. And when we look at the last Pew study, we know that U.S. Jews see being Jewish as more a matter of ancestry, culture, and values than of religious observance. 6 in 10 say, for example, that being Jewish is mainly a matter of culture or ancestry, compared with 15% who say it is mainly a matter of religion. Roughly 7 in 10 say remembering the Holocaust and leading an ethical life are essential to what it means to them to be Jewish, while far fewer say observing Jewish law is a central component of their Jewish identity. And 2/3 of Jews say that a person can be Jewish even if he or she does not believe in God. Statistically, Jews who believe in God are at 34% who believe with absolute certainty, 38% believe but with less certainty, 23% don't believe. Among college graduates, 25% believe with absolute certainty, 43% believe with less certainty, 27% don't believe. So what does this really mean? How are we to understand Judaism's great proclamation of monotheistic faith? What difference does monotheism make? We put so much focus in the fact that we believe in one rather than many gods. What is the big deal with this great monotheistic revolution? Arthur Green, writer of Judaism's 10 Best Ideas, states the following: The only value of monotheism is to make you realize that all beings, every creature, and that means the rock and the blade of grass, as well as your pet and your annoying neighbor, are all one in origin. You come from the same place. You were created in the same great act of love, God bestowing God's own grace on every creature that would ever come to be. That is what the Shema means by proclaiming God is one. But how do we render that mysterious name, Yud-He-Vav-He, Yahweh? Once badly reproduced in English as Jehovah, the mystical tradition within Judaism insists on translating God's name as being. Really, it's not a name at all, not even fully a noun. Yud-He-Vav-He is an impossible conflation of all the tenses of the verb to be in Hebrew. He Yud He Haya means was in Hebrew. He Vav He Hoveh indicates the present is. Yud He Yeh means will be. Put them all together and you get the implausible and therefore mysterious verb form Yud He Vav He Yahweh. It probably would best be translated as was, is, will be. But since that's a little awkward to say each time, being will have to do. A being that embraces all of time and space as one, then reaches beyond them into impenetrable mystery. The meaning here is profound. God and existence are not separable from one another. God is not some entity over there who created a separate, distinct entity called world over here. There are not two, there is only one. The mystics insist on carrying monotheism that one step further. To say you believe in one God, but then to depict that God as an old fellow with a beard seated on a throne, or in any other single way, taken literally, is just a concentrated form of idolatry. It's like the Midrash where Abraham says to his father, "The big idol smashed all the others." You may remember the story. Abraham's father, Terah, had an idol shop. One day his father was called away for a while and left his son in charge. Abraham smashed all the idols except the largest one, placed in a big stick in the hand of the large idol. When his father returned and saw the damage, Abraham explained, "The big idol destroyed all the rest." "Of course it didn't," his father said. "It's only an idol." "Aha!" cried out Abraham. And that aha was the beginning of the monotheistic revolution. The same is true in each of our spiritual lives. If it's just about numbers, all you've got left is one big idol. Far too many people leave it at that. The real change has to be in the way you see existence itself. In fact, Green continues on, the way you say existence in Hebrew is He Vav Yud He. Just a rearrangement of the 4 letters of God's secret name, Yud-He-Vav-He. To see God when you look at existence is a grand rearranging of the molecules, seeing the big picture instead of the many smaller ones. God is being when you see the whole picture, the way it all fits together with the eyes of wonder. Of course, we can't ever really see all of that big picture. The whole is infinitely more than the totality of its parts. Now, to be a servant of being is not a bad idea. It means to treat all existence with respect, to show a combination of love and reverence to each creature, to be a conveyor of universal compassion. Great. But something happened along the way. Once people started saying Lord, they began to picture that elderly nobleman, the white-bearded white guy on a throne. They became his servants, not servants of being, worshiping the image of God rather than the mystery behind it. How easily religion slides into idolatry. As Arthur Green states, quote, "Don't look beyond the stars. There's no need to stretch your neck. God is right here, filling all of existence with endless bounty. Look around you, look within, open your eyes. Find God's presence in each and every creature and in the unified, transforming vision of all that is." That's what it means to belong to Israel, the people who struggle with God, unquote. I think Green, coming from our mystical tradition, gives us much to think about. So too, one of the great West Coast rabbis, Harold Schulweis, of blessed memory, stated the following: "Once I conceive of God as a person like myself, he becomes open to criticism. The paradigm case in the Bible is that of Abraham confronting the sovereign God with righteous indignation. Shall the judge of all the earth not do justly? God as a moral person is drawn too close for comfort. If God is to retain his sovereignty, his vulnerability to criticism must be shielded." Schulweis proposes a shift of focus from noun to verb, from subject to predicate, from God as person to godliness. Not the qualities of divinity, but the divinity of the qualities is essential to belief. To illustrate this inversion, let's turn to the translation of benedictions. How are the blessings of the prayer book to be understood in accordance with the idea of godliness? One of the first blessings we all learn is a benediction over the bread, the motzi. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. With the idea of godliness in mind, we direct our attention not to the noun, but to the activity that brings forth bread from the earth. What are the events that bring this bread to the table? The benediction is a meditation on the transactions between nature and human beings in the process. The transactions involve the givenness of the earth, water, sun, and seed attributed to Elohim, God, and the preparations of the soil, the weeding and plowing, grinding and baking attributed to Adonai, the God that through human beings transforms nature. To believe in godliness is to believe in the verbs and adverbs that refer to the activities of divinity. To behave in a godly fashion is to realize in one's life the attributes of godliness that are potential in all human and non-human energies. The arguments for God's existence and goodness are not furnished by inductive or deductive logic. The evidence is in our mouths, hands, and feet. The evidence is found within our own personal experience. Individually and collectively, we are the verifiers of God's reality. The prophet proclaimed in God's name, "You are my witnesses." The Midrash added, "If you are my witnesses, I am God. And if you are not, I am, as it were, not God." According to Schulweis, religious beliefs are conditional. They demand our behavioral testimony. What does it mean that you or I believe? What does the answer tell me about you or myself? Not whether we believe, not whether we obey, but what kind of God we believe in and what imperatives we are prepared to obey. If our beliefs in God do not motivate us to be the best we can be and to work towards tikkun olam, repairing the world, then we should question our beliefs in God. As you've heard me say many times, our B'nai Mitzvah students are taught that as Jews, we can believe up to one God. I've discussed in the past one of the many influential professors I've had, Alvin J. Reines, who taught of a freedom covenant that gives another way to reflect on what God is and how that influences our behavior. The freedom covenant, to remind you, is the idea that we each have the right to believe what we want to believe so long as we do not take that right away from another person. This is the one piece of dogma that I personally advocate. Well, maybe there's a couple others. I understand Reformed Judaism as a polydoxy, not an orthodoxy. We have many beliefs available to us. Orthodoxy is the idea that we have one belief. Can you imagine? Oy vey. Remember, 2 Jews in the room, 3 opinions? How could we possibly be limited to just one idea of God? As a polydoxian community, we affirm our belief that each of us struggles with our own beliefs, and we are part of an extended family that also understands that our behavior is more important than our belief. So believe what you want to believe, but question your belief if it does not motivate you to be your best. So too, if our beliefs are not comforting in times of grief, or if our beliefs are more about pointing fingers than being self-reflective, then time for a new belief. As Reformed Jews, We must embrace the struggle of existence and what God is. But we do it in the comfort of our extended family. That is what it means to be part of a congregation. We do not need to focus on our differences or similarities. We need to only understand that all of us are in the same boat, trying to understand our existence in light of our tradition and our own experiences. In the end, it is the act of struggling that is key, not the definition, because all we know about God is what we personally experience. For me, God is the energy present in nature when we help another, when we study with Torah, and ultimately in our actions towards each other. May this Yom Kippur inspire us to struggle with what God is in our lives, and may that struggle lead us to a life filled with good actions and loving energy within us. Amen.
Shana Tova. I'm Kim Jackman, and it's my honor to represent the Board of Trustees this evening. I'd like to welcome all of you to Temple Emanu-El's High Holiday Services. We are delighted to be sharing this high holiday observance with you via online live streaming. Though we are not all physically together, we are worshiping together as one congregational family. We want to express our thanks to our wonderful clergy team and to the Temple administrative staff for their preparations for services this year. If by chance you do not have your High Holidays prayer book available at home, there is a digital flip book version available on the website. Our Yom Kippur children's services will begin at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and our congregational service will start at 10 a.m. We look forward to seeing you there. We invite you to join us tomorrow on Zoom at 1 p.m. for a panel discussion on the environment hosted by our Social Action Tikkun Olam Committee. We'll discuss what we can do to make the world a better place, and we can find more sustainable and resourceful options. Pre-registration on the Temple website is required. We hope to see you later tomorrow for our healing service at 3:15, and then for Yizkor, Nila, and Havdalah beginning at 4:45. The Festival of Sukkot begins on Monday evening. Please check online for our Sukkot and Simchat Torah programming. Wishing you all a Gemar Chatima Tova and a sweet New Year.
We'll have an opportunity to hear more of the beautiful music that we've heard this evening tomorrow at 4 p.m. For a musical interlude, we'll have a wonderful string quartet to offer some music for some contemplation on
We
Yom
missed it
Kippur
last year.
afternoon.
Although we had a version of it last year that Peter did for us, that was kind of cool. But we've done that since 1999. So it's a pretty special tradition, and we will bring it back tomorrow before Yizkor. Thank you, Kenner, for remembering that. We continue on page, well, I think we should do Elenu. Are you ready? Let's do it. Page 117, we continue with Elenu. Please rise either physically or in spirit if you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 119. May the time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your dominion be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו
Page 121. This holy night concludes with memory. Our last thoughts always are of those we have lost. We miss them especially tonight, yearning for their presence at our side. The service we have shared once was theirs. They spoke and sang the ancient words. They prayed, repented, and yearned for better lives as we have done. Flawed in their deeds, imperfect in their faith, they still drew strength from their tradition as we seek fortitude in ours. What was good and beautiful in their lives once gave us joy and now inspires us to reach higher. The knowledge that they loved us deeply brings comfort to our hearts. So we light candles of remembrance and gratitude, and we speak this timeless truth, Zichronam Livracha. The memory is a blessing now and forever. We pray that their goodness will live on in our lives, planting seeds of kindness and hope for generations to come. As we join together on page 122 with our Mourner's Kaddish, I remind you in the middle of those two kind of gray words that are added for this version. Please join me. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעולם ולעילם מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. Please be seated. As we continue, on page 127. רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שתחדש עלינו שנה טובה ומתוקה. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year, may it be a sweet year. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
We'll see you all 9 o'clock for children's service, 10 a.m. for the morning service.